Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning into Vol News tonight. I'm Jessica Davis, and let's get started. After many faculty protests demanding higher pay, Provost Zomchik announced a pay raise. Faculty senators also came to a resolution to encourage administration to provide hazard pay to campus workers and custodians. The minimum wage for non-tenure track faculty has increased to $40,000 and increased to $45,000 for those with terminal degrees. This is beneficial to current lecturers and all future hires. However, lecturers are saying that this pay raise is not sufficient to meet their needs, and senior lecturer Wendy Braun says that it is tough for her to see that she will be making the same salary as her new hires after working at the university for 8 years. Braun is advocating for a higher increase in pay so that she does not have to work several jobs and can have economic security to be involved more on campus. A new campaign is being launched to call for a minimum salary of $60,000. An incoming first-year student of the University of Tennessee, Nicholas Gilchrist from Tullahoma, Tennessee, is a member of the National Guard. He had to quickly change his plans for his January move-in date when he was called to serve at the presidential inauguration. With the help of UT staff, he made arrangements for his parents to move in his belongings on his behalf. Thank you, Nicholas, for your service. This week, artifacts from the first COVID-19 vaccines administered at the University of Tennessee Medical Center are being preserved for historical significance. A vial and a syringe used in the first vaccination from December were delivered to the East Tennessee Historical Society. Warren Doctor, Executive Director of the Historical Society, said that they are glad to have the relics and will provide a nice addition to the extensive collection. The East Tennessee Historical Society is located on Gay Street and is looking for more artifacts such as journals and letters written during the pandemic. 4 UT students are taking the initiative and doing what they can do to help solve food insecurity. The group calls itself the Campaign Cooks, and their project starts on March 17th. Their goal is to raise money from the Knoxville community for a local food kitchen called the Love Kitchen. The Love Kitchen provides food and clothing to anyone who is in need of their services, such as people who are unemployed, homeless, or confined to their home. The Campaign Cooks are certainly an encouraging story for any students who feel like they do not have the power or resources to make a positive difference in their community. On Tuesday, the Tennessee Historical Commission voted 25-1 to relocate a bust of Ku Klux Klan founder Nathan Bedford Forrest from the state capitol to the museum capitol. Governor Bill Lee has been pursuing moving the bust from the state capitol since last year, but faced overwhelming resistance from the legislature. The meeting lasted for 5 hours and included testimonies from 30 speakers, most of whom supported the moving of the bust. Others, including an attorney for the descendants of Forrest, do not believe there is a reason to move the state. Overwhelmingly, however, decision is being celebrated by many who are glad to see the KKK leader leave the state capitol building. Currently, there are no plans for relocation process. That is going to do it for our news tonight. Coming up next, Jack and Gabriella have your Rocky Top Sports Report.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Rocky Top Sports Report. I'm Jack Foster.
And I'm Gabriella Genero, bringing you up to date on all things sports here on Rocky Top. Why don't we get started?
Let's do it. The 2021 NBA All-Star Weekend featured the three-point contest, dunk contest, and NBA All-Star Game all played at State Farm Stadium in Atlanta on Sunday. The three-point contest came down to the wire between Warriors point guard Stephen Curry and Utah Jazz point guard Mike Conley Jr., but ultimately saw Curry come away with the victory, highlighted by a sensational finish to the final round. The dunk contest featured Trailblazers shooting guard Anthony Simmons narrowly beat Knicks rookie forward Obi Toppin by scoring a 49 on his final dunk, nearly kissing the rim in the process. The All-Star Game saw Team LeBron face off against Team Durant in a game that was comfortably won by Team LeBron, led by game MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo's 100% shooting percentage. In other NBA news, former Los Angeles Clippers and Detroit Pistons star Blake Griffin signed a one-year deal with the Brooklyn Nets, reuniting him with former teammate DeAndre Jordan and adding even more experience to the Studley starting lineup in Brooklyn.
Is officially the beginning of the Heupel era here on Rocky Top, and the Vols' first game under the new leadership is approaching quickly. The University of Tennessee has announced the orange and white spring game is set for April 24th in Neyland Stadium. Kickoff time and further details will be announced in the coming weeks.
The 2021 SEC Men's Basketball Tournament is here, and the Vols earned a double bye as they are the 4th seed in the tournament due to their triumphant win against the Gators to close out the season. The Vols will now go up against the winner of the Florida and Vanderbilt game. This should bode well for the Vols, as Florida and Vandy were each handed an L by the Vols in their most recent contests. This year's tournament may very well be the final chance for seniors Eves Pons and John Fulkerson to win an SEC tournament, so they will have their eyes on the prize in a big way.
In NFL news, Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys have finally come to terms on a massive new deal. Prescott signed a 4-year, $160 million deal, including $126 million guaranteed, along with the highest signing bonus in NFL history of $66 million. The Tennessee Titans traded offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson to the Miami Dolphins. The trade also included Tennessee shipping over a 2022 7th-round pick in return for the Dolphins' 2021 7th-rounder. This trade brings the Isaiah Wilson saga to a close, and Wilson will now put together a solid sophomore campaign in South Florida after a miserable first year in Nashville.
All right, it's time for Double Takes. We'll get a topic and both give our takes. Ready, Gabby?
Let's do it. My first question. If everyone is healthy, including the offensive line, can Dallas contend for an NFC title?
This team, especially the offense, looks unbelievable on paper. I mean, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup are all capable of putting up big numbers. And Zeke can still make a difference in any game as long as he has that healthy offensive line to run behind. But I don't see Dallas reaching NFC Championship level in 2021. Their defense still needs a lot of work, and I am not sold on Mike McCarthy being the answer at head coach. I mean, even with the healthy Dak, they went 1-3 to start last season, and the one win they did have in Week 2 was due to a complete choke job by Atlanta. So while Dallas can put up big numbers on offense and have a decent shot at winning the NFC East, I'm going to have to see it to believe it from this defense and from McCarthy before I consider them to be as good as the Bucs or the Rams.
Well, I'm going to say that the Cowboys do have a chance to be contenders this year. I may be a little biased as I am a Cowboys fan, but in my opinion, Dak Prescott is without a doubt the best quarterback in the NFC East. And the Cowboys undoubtedly play better when Dak is their quarterback. I mean, Dallas went 31-3 when Prescott finishes with a 100-plus passer rating. So if Dak is back and healthy and ready to go next season, as it seems he should be, and we can keep that O-line healthy and Zeke can get back in his groove, I think that Dallas might be hard to beat. I know that their biggest handicap will be their defense, as you said, but I still think Cowboys have a chance to be contenders and take home that NFC title.
Next question. Are the Nets the team to beat in the East now that they have Blake Griffin?
Absolutely. I mean, the only real threat that they have is going to be the Sixers, who have Joel Embiid dominating at center, right? But I mean, let's look at the Nets. They now have 4 all-star players on their team. I mean, their biggest challenge is just going to be forming that cohesion and figuring out how to work well together. But if they do, they're going to be unstoppable.
I do agree that the signing of Blake Griffin makes this starting 5 look ridiculous. The amount of experience and playmaking ability that Durant, Harden, Kyrie, Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan have may make them the best starting 5 in the league. But when it comes to the team to beat in the East, it is hard to say that Philly is not that team. The way Joel Embiid is playing this year is remarkable, and it was on display when the Sixers took down the Jazz last week. The Nets and the Sixers are close, but for right now, the East is Philly's to lose.
All right, next. What will be the key to the Vols' success in the SEC tournament?
You know, we say this every week. The Vols have the talent to beat any team in the SEC, and we've definitely seen flashes of that ability, but it's just the inconsistencies that always come back to bite the Vols. The key to success for this tournament will be senior leadership from Pons and Fulke, allowing Springer, Bailey, and Keon to unleash their shot-making capabilities and minimalizing turnovers and penalties. We saw it in the loss against Auburn where turnovers and penalties don't produce positive results, as the Vols had 13 turnovers and 23 fouls in the loss. If they just play smart for a full 40 minutes, game in and game out, they can win this thing.
I definitely agree with you. I also think a big part of it is just making sure that the Vols stay healthy. I mean, this team has showed us that they can be a big powerhouse when all of their key players are available and healthy and ready to play. You know, if we see Jaden, Keon, and Bailey keep putting up those points while Vescovi and Pons are locking it down on defense, I mean, we look really good. We just got to find a way to keep the consistency throughout the SEC tournament.
I definitely agree. Before we close out sports, Gabby, did you know there's a women's tackle football team right here in Knoxville?
I did not until recently, but if any female is interested in playing for the Knoxville Lightning in the 2021 season, text PLAY4LIGHTNING to 833-300-4888 to receive text messages about upcoming tryouts and practice information. And that number is 833-300-4888.
All right, that will be all for sports this week. I'm Jack Foster.
And I'm Gabriella Genero. Stay tuned for entertainment with Taylor coming up next.
Welcome back to Vol News. I'm Taylor Thompson, bringing you the latest entertainment news and updates. Let's get started. We all know the popular entertainment platform TikTok. Do you ever find yourself saving videos in hopes of finding time to go back and make those crafts? If so, then there's an upcoming event made just for you. Stop by the TikTok Craft Fair to pick up crafts you can make that have been featured on TikTok. From embroidery, painted vases, self-watering herbs, and so much more will be available for you to try. Stop by the Student Union, Suite 174 on Monday, March 15th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. to grab your craft and make sure you wear a mask. Have a talent for making films? Well, you're in luck. The Volunteer Short Films Club is allowing students the opportunity to participate in a short film festival. Grab a group of your movie-making friends or work individually to submit a 3 to 15-minute short film to be shown at a virtual viewing party. The best short films will be entered for a chance to win one of 3 cash prizes. For more information, check out volunteershortfilms.weebly.com. This weekend, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry broke the silence on the frustrations of how the Duchess treated Markle in a shocking interview with Oprah Winfrey on CBS. Meghan and Prince Harry bravely discussed the racial tension inside the palace and how the royals were worried about her son's skin color. Markle also opened up on her former thoughts of suicide during her pregnancy and how her cry for help was ignored. Many viewers were stunned by how the royals treated Markle. Meghan says she is so happy to be able to safely raise her son outside of the influence of the royal family. Miss the interview? Go to cbs.com to stream it anytime. Wrapping up the evening, I have some good news for all the music enthusiasts out there. After being pushed back 2 months, the Grammys, the biggest night in music, is finally happening. Top favorites such as Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, Dua Lipa, and Billie Eilish will be performing. The Grammys, which will be held in Los Angeles in the Staples Center, is expected to air from 8 to 11:30 on March 14th. Curious about who will win Album of the Year? Tune into CBS on Sunday night to find out. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Volunteer News. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and remember to mask up.